Hi everyone, this is April from Android Authority. 10-inch tablets are light and portable enough to carry around and have screens large enough for pleasurable viewing. Such is the case of the Apple iPad with Retina display and the freshly released Google Nexus 10 made by Samsung. Let's know more about these tablets. The two tablets look just like most other tablets in the market. Big, wide, and relatively heavy slabs. Though the Google Nexus 10 stands taller than the iPad 4, the Google tablet also has a smaller width, is slightly thinner, and weighs less. The front sides on the two tablets are simple and clean. On the iPad 4, you see only the iconic home button and the front camera. On the Nexus 10, you'll see only the front camera. You won't see any physical buttons. All navigation controls are virtual. Both tablets have bezels wide enough to prevent accidental screen touches. The Nexus 10, however, has its loudspeakers on the front, both at the left and right edges of the frame. The speaker grill almost fills the entire edge. I find this design quite handy because the sound is not blocked entirely when I hold the tablet on its sides or when placing it on its back. The notification light on the Nexus 10 is at the center of the bottom bezel. It lights up only when there are notifications. The iPad 4 doesn't have a notification light. The iPad 4's front panel is surrounded by a very thin frame, joined to its aluminum back. The Nexus 10 doesn't have a separate frame. Rather, its frame is one with a back cover. As usual, the control buttons are on the sides. On the iPad 4, the power button, mic, and headphone jack are at the top. The Lightning port is at the bottom, and the lock rotation switch and volume rocker are on the right side. On the Nexus 10, the power button and volume rocker are on the top side. Micro HDMI port on the right, micro USB port and headphone jack on the left, and dock connectors at the bottom. As for the back, it appears that the iPad 4 is made of durable and stronger material. The iPad 4's back is made of slightly textured aluminum, which provides the iPad 4 its sleek and sophisticated look. It is also less prone to fingerprints and smudges. On the Nexus 10, the backplate is hard plastic, typical Samsung. This one, though, has a somewhat rubbery feel to it, which makes it less prone to sliding and makes it easier to grip. Downside, though, is that it catches fingerprints more easily than the iPad's back. Apple has been proudly marketing the iPad 4 and its Retina display, and rightly so because the display on this tablet does look amazing. The screen is protected by scratch and oil-resistant glass. Meanwhile, the Nexus 10's display also looks awesome. It is protected by Corning Gorilla Glass 2. The displays on both tablets look crisp and sharp thanks to 264 ppi on the iPad 4 and 299 ppi on the Nexus 10. I observed, however, that the display on the iPad 4 is more colorful than that on the Nexus 10. These two tablets are powered by dual-core chipsets, which by today's standards seem rather modest and a little behind. Though powered by dual-core processors, both the Nexus 10 and iPad 4 perform very smoothly, with no choking, stuttering, lagging, or jittering, whether you're browsing or playing HD games. The iPad 4 has a dual-core 1.4 GHz Apple A6X chipset, PowerVR SGX 554MP4 GPU, 1GB of RAM, and up to 64 GB of internal storage. On the other hand, the Nexus 10 has a dual-core 1.7 GHz Samsung Exynos 5250 chipset, Cortex A15 CPU, Mali T604 GPU, 2 GB of RAM, and up to 32 GB of internal storage. Neither tablet allows microSD memory expansion. The two tablets are powered by the latest and most recent versions of their respective operating systems. Android 4.2.1 Jelly Bean on the Nexus 10, and Apple iOS 6.0.1 on the iPad 4, each of which provides a not only smooth experience for the user, but also useful and convenient software features. Of particular note is the Nexus 10's multi-user feature, which lets you set up several user accounts, each one having its own settings and configurations, plus security features to prevent unwanted users from using an account. Another noteworthy new feature is the Nexus 10's dual pull-down menu. There used to be only one for the notifications, but with the Nexus 10, you get not just the notifications menu, but also a toggles and shortcuts menu. Both tablets are capable of connecting via Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, yet the iPad 4's Bluetooth behavior remains consistent with that of the iPad minis. It is not very friendly when pairing with other devices. The Nexus 10, in contrast, pairs with other Bluetooth devices very easily. The iPad 4, though, one-ups the Nexus 10 with an LTE variant. The Nexus 10 is capable only of Wi-Fi, but the Nexus 10 also allows data connections using a standards-compliant micro USB port, whereas the iPad 4 uses Apple's non-standards-compliant and proprietary Lightning port. Moreover, the Nexus 10 supports near-field communication or NFC, allowing two devices to share data just by touching each other. The iPad 4 doesn't have such feature. As for the camera, both tablets come with 5-megapixel rear cameras. The iPad also has a 1.2 megapixel front camera, and the Nexus 10 has a 1.9 megapixel front camera. In general, both tablets can capture good and crisp photos under bright conditions. The iPad 4, however, seems to produce washed-out colors and foggy photos under sunlight. In low-light settings, the Nexus 10's flash can add more light, helping the camera produce clearer and brighter photos. The iPad 4's rear camera doesn't have such feature. Both tablets can also record 1080p Full HD videos. The Nexus 10, though, lets you choose lower resolutions such as 720p or 480p. The iPad 4 doesn't let you make such adjustments. Multimedia playback is very pleasurable on these two tablets. Hardly any dropped frames or freezes on either tablet playing Full HD videos. Sound quality is also great on the two tablets, although I favor the loudness on the Nexus 10 because of the location of its loudspeakers on the front. Both tablets use lithium polymer battery packs. The one on the Nexus 10 is rated at 9,000 mAh and can provide up to about 9 hours of video playback or 7 hours of web browsing. The iPad 4's battery has 11,560 mAh that can last for about 10 hours of reading, movies, gaming, and writing. In sum, both tablets offer visual pleasure for viewing photos, reading, or web browsing. The iPad 4 provides a solid and sturdier build, although the Nexus 10 specs seem to provide better grip. Both tablets are undoubtedly well designed. Performance-wise, both are powerful enough and capable enough to give you seamless navigation and a smooth experience. Software-wise, the Nexus 10 has several new features catered to a multi-user environment. The Nexus 10 also has a bigger screen and is lighter than the iPad 4. Are you getting one of these two soon? Which one? Let us know in the comments. For more Android news and reviews, visit AndroidAuthority.com. Also remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel. This is April from Android Authority. Until next time, may the light side of the Android force be with you.